Most of us spend our lives trying to fix what is wrong, convinced that in order to feel better, all we need is to understand, analyze, or heal, unaware that in doing so, we are merely redecorating ourselves. For it is not external events that truly imprison us, but rather what allows them to occur over and over again in different forms. What keeps repeating is not a coincidence, it is a pattern, a program structure. A pattern is not an isolated emotion or a personal story. It is a line of encoded memory embedded in our psyche, sometimes even in our soul, attracting the same scenarios, the same interpersonal dynamics, the same dead hands. The faces change, so do the backdrop, but the final sensation remains strangely the same. Rejection, humiliation, fear, insecurity. The system feeds on this recurring emotional charge. For the matrix, recycled emotional pain is a result. The matrix does not begin on the outside. It originates from the very place where we are no longer aware that we are reacting. Some emotions appear within before our conscious mind can even process them. Not because they are us, but because they have been learned, repeated, and passed on. They are collective memories, ingrained patterns, reflexes. A program is easy to recognize when we know where to look. A programmed memory always reacts before we do. It is always triggered by the same things. It keeps coming back even when we've mentally figured it out. It makes us believe that it's normal or that it's life. When something gets activated without us consciously choosing it, it is not an inner truth at all. It is an automated response. What occurs repeatedly and absent-mindedly is not experience, it's an instruction. So the real question is not why, but whether this really feels like us. We cannot dissolve a memory by fighting it, nor by working on it. Exertion, struggle, and emotional involvement are precisely what keeps it going. The key is not confrontation, but withdrawal. When a script is being reactivated, the first thing to do is to cut short any internal narrative, stop recounting the story, stop justifying. Simply give a name to what is happening. Such and such program as just being activated. Such dispassionate identification creates an instant distance. Next comes non-reaction. The repetitive pattern seeks a hook, a vibration, an emotional charge. If we remain neutral, present, unaffected, it runs out of steam. Without anger, without sustained sadness, without inner drama, the current no longer flows. This is not indifference, it is lucidity. Then comes the refusal to consent. At some point, we must clearly state that we have seen through the magic trick, that we are no longer willing to be part of the cycle, not by force, but by a clear internal decision. Of course, the memory may resurface. It may even grow stronger to begin with. However, it is not a failure, it is a test. The matrix is simply checking whether we are going to identify with it again or remain centered. When we hold our position, something changes. Subtly, but profoundly. The memory is still there, but it no longer has any power. One day we find ourselves smiling where before we would have tensed up. Afterwards, Yes, we are confronted with the same issues again, the same types of people, the same triggers. But inside, the ground is no longer the same. No more fight or flight, no more justifying, just quiet presence. The memory eventually dies out on its own because it is no longer fed. There was nothing to heal, nothing to fix, just disengage. And what we lose is not ourselves, it is what was feeding off us. Lucid beings are not seeking happiness in the simulation. They're just trying to free themselves from the workings of their programming by detaching themselves from what does not belong to them in order to fully belong to themselves.